I'm Jasenia. This is my labs 10 for DSF, the random number generator. And so as we can see here, we have two similar circuits. In the top circuit, we see three cascaded D-type flip-flops, and essentially those take in a clock input and a data input, and on the rising edge of the clock, it records what the data is. If the data is 1, then the flip-flop will store a 1 value until it is reset with the input of a 0 in the data and the rising edge of the clock. And so we have these 3D flip-flops cascaded and these two similar circuits. The difference between these two circuits is that there is either an XOR or an XNOR gate. So the gate will take in the output of the second and third registers. They'll take in those outputs as inputs, and then its output is fed back into the first the flip-flop. And so as we can see here, if we enable ticks, we'll see, and these two clocks tick with the same frequency. And so ticks are enabled. We see that because the XNOR truth table, its functionality allows for the input of 0, 0 to yield a 1, we get different numbers that are generated because the XNOR output changes from 0 or to 1 just with the clock ticks. However, because the top circuit, it's fed in 0, 0 from the beginning, and in an XOR gate, a 0, 0 is a 0. A 0 is being fed back into the first flip-flop, which means that the output of that flip-flop will always be 0, which means the inputs of the two flip-flops that are in cascade, those will also always be 0. So a 0 is just being fed through these three cascaded flip-flops and fed back into the XOR gate, which feeds a 0 back into the first flip-flop, which means that the random number generator will always just generate 3 zeros. Whereas the XNOR gate, we see that the 1 is able to just be transferred from the first flip-flop to the second and then to the third. And then these flip-flops, the second and third output will serve as the inputs for this XNOR, and then that output feeds back into the first one. And so it just truly is a random number generator, just because the XNOR functions because the initial 0, 0 inputs that it receives yield a 1. And so then that 1 is just fed through the cascade of the flip-flops, and that just allows for different numbers to be generated. Thank you.